I'm Damien Barrett and welcome to the 2016 wash-up for the Richmond Football Club. A rough year for the Tigers, and what confused many was the mixed messages coming out of the club. Are they rebuilding or are they a final side, as Damien Hardwick believes? Matthew Lloyd.
They need to start the rebuild again. It's going to be Damien's 8th year next year, Damo, so it's not a great sign when you're going to start rebuilding. But the lack of player development is a real worry. There's not too many quality players coming through, and his game style, to me, is outdated and isn't sort of stacking up against the opposition clubs. So has massive concerns at Richmond.
Yeah, and the comments he made throughout the year, and right throughout the year, right through until the lead into round 23, were just confusing.
Yeah.
And I think he needs to get a real crash course on what to say publicly.
Yeah.
It's okay to say things publicly, but when they don't match up with what you've said previously, it just makes it even more confusing.
Some of those statements were best list in my time at the club, that we can only recently play finals next year. That would concern me if I was a board member at Richmond, if he's thinking that way about his list.
As always, even a team like Richmond who had a disappointing year, there are highlights, and I may be stating the absolute obvious here, Lordo, but Alex Rance's form, he tacked it back onto 2015 and went another level, didn't he? And look, whether he's as good as Matty Scarlett, who knows? But the fact that footy people and people like yourself are prepared to now talk about that conversation in a meaningful way and ramp up his credentials says all that needs to be said.
Oh, to do what he's done at fullback, the toughest place to play at Richmond this year, is phenomenal. He's an absolute superstar. My favourite moment, I was there in round 9 to see Sam Lloyd kick that goal after the siren. To beat the Swans, such a great side. It was amazing. Just the reaction after the game from Hardwick in the coach's box. You hoped that it would turn around their season, which it unfortunately didn't. But just to see the reactions here, to beat a powerhouse like Sydney, was definitely my highlight of the year.
Happier times. Many lowlights from which to choose. I go back to pre-season with the Dustin Martin chopsticks saga. Look, no matter which spin you want to put on it, and the club put a lot of spin on it, he did threaten a woman, and there was no significant sanction that was applied to him. And I just feel the club would have been better off showing a bit more leadership than they did on this whole saga.
Yeah, my low light is the recruitment of Chris Yarron. He was meant to be the cream on the cake, the class off halfback that they were hoping would take them from a top 8 side to a top 4 side. Unfortunately, he came underdone, unfit, never played a game, and they want to hope he'd perform next year. Otherwise, what a disaster that recruitment has been.
OK, let's rank them out of 10. I'll start at Lordo, and I'm going to give them a 4, but it's mainly on the back of Alex Rance's form and the way Trent Cotchin, I think, worked his way through, and Dustin Martin.
Yeah, I've gone a bit harder than that, a 3. I just thought that the way they finished off the season, pretty much their whole season was just not good enough. Yeah,
the Christmas bonus kitty won't be something that's going to trouble too many people there in finance section of the Tigers, but we're going to give some, and I'll start it with giving it to the man you highlighted a moment ago, Sam Lloyd. I just like the way he persevered. Look, there's more important players at that footy club, but he has got footy smarts. He does kick goals, and I think he had a nice progressive year on what he'd already shown.
Yeah, I agree with that, and in a stronger side next year, hopefully, that I think he's capable of kicking 40 goals, but couldn't this year with the lack of supply. For me, Oleg Markov off halfback was a massive bonus. Just felt that they would have hoped on Hawley and also Chris Yarron to be these players to run off halfback, but with Hawley injured, Yarron not playing, this guy, they found a beauty. I know he's lean, but his poise, his pace and his skill was a real highlight for the Tigers this year.
Right, every club has to put some names on the chopping block in order to go forward, particularly with Richmond in this state it is now in. Brett Delidio, Lordo, when I say chopping block, I love what he's done. I really got a lot of time from him as a player and as a person, but I think it's just time for him to actually part ways and go and pursue a premiership with a club that may allow him to do so, because he's not going to get one at Richmond in his current state.
Yeah, I know he loves Richmond. He bleeds red and black, and he probably doesn't. Sorry, yellow and black, but probably doesn't want to leave. But I think the right time is for him and Richmond to part ways. For me, just guys, who are sort of, list cloggers is a tough word, but I think guys like Taylor Hunt, Steve Morris, Andrew Moore, Jacob Townsend, and probably the retiring Ivan Maric. There's plenty of those guys that can move on for a new wave of kids at Richmond.
Did you get a laugh out of the Tigers season in any positive way?
There was one laugh, and I think it was Sean Hampson playing a game of football, and when your big ruckman forgets which way they're kicking, that's when there's grave concerns. They had a good night this night, started the game well, but Alex Rance, when he's having to tell you which way you're kicking, it's been a really tough year at Tigerland.
You don't like ruckman, though, do you?
No, well, some of them I like. No, he had a good year, Hampson.
Yeah, he did. Hey, they need to step up and improve in so many facets. I'll throw up one, Lordo, and that is that Jack Riewoldt needs to improve his mannerisms around the club and try and get himself into the leadership group for a bloke who's going to be 28 pretty soon. And I think he also needs to stay closer to goal. I mean, I get why they push him up the ground ground, but I just think they're at a stage now where they just need some certainty about what is in the goal square for them.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And for me, don't bring any more recycled players, and I'll go even a step further, don't bring in Dion Prestia. I think instead of paying someone $600,000 and giving away pick 6 in the draft, actually take a kid that you pay minimum wage who you hope will be better than Dion Prestia. I think they're the type of decisions Richmond have to start making.
Well, he's committed to them, and they've offered him about $700,000 a year, Lauder, so I think it's done.
Too late,
OK, prediction time for the Tigers in 2017. You start.
I've got them stagnating just because I think they need to go backwards, which Damien Hardwick said earlier in the year to go forward. So I think they need to play more kids and will cost them wins, I think.
Yeah, I've got the same. I've got a stagnating situation for the Tigers, and I just don't see any great bright future at the time.
I'd agree with that.
Laudo, thanks for wrapping up the Tigers in 2016, and that is the wash-up for the Tigers this season.